Hey everyone, I hope you all are doing extremely well. So let's see today's daily challenge on Leetcode and we will try to solve it together. Okay, so let's try to understand the problem statement at first. You are given two strings str1 and str2 of lengths n and m. Okay, a string word of length n plus m minus 1 is defined to be generated by string 1 and string 2 if it satisfies the following conditions for each index. What are the conditions? String 1 will only consist of true or false, T or F. Okay, it is already given in the constraints that string 1 consists of true or false and string 2 consists of only lowercase English letters. And if string 1 of I is true, the substring of the word with size m starting at index I is equal to string 2. That is, this particular section of the word in your final answer must be equal to string 2. And if it is false, then it should not be equal to string 2. Okay, that particular section of your answer or your word should not be equal to string 2. And return the lexicographically smallest possible string that can be generated by string 1 and string 2. If no such string can be generated, return an empty string. Okay, so you try to see in this example, string 1 is tf. Okay, so we will try to understand this example. String 1 is tf. Okay, and string 2 is nothing but ab. Okay, and why is this your final answer? If you try to see a b a b a. Okay, so this is your final answer because first index it is true, so it means that starting from this index, starting from this first index to the next, see, this is n equals to 4 length, this is m equals to 2 length, right? So starting from this to the next two elements, okay, to the next two elements, this and this. Okay, so it means that starting from a, including this two elements, m equals to two elements, if we check, that should be equal to str2. If you see, hey, what is str2? It's ab. And what are the two elements here? It's ab again. So that is perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine for your answer. Okay, and if you consider this, now it is false. Okay, now for the false, you see this portion we will take, we'll start from this and take the m equals to next two index. Now again, for false, you see, what is this ba, what is this string? We got the string of ba, right? But our str2, which is this, is not equal to this. Okay, so it is false. Okay, so again it is satisfying. Again it is satisfying. So again, I will like to see that if str1 of I is false, the substring of the word with size m is not equal to string 2, is not equal to the string 2. Okay, this is not equal to string 2. So again, this case is a valid one. Okay, again, if you try to see the true position over here, you must start from this and take the next two elements. It's ab. Again, ab is equals to ab. So there is a true over here. Okay, so it perfectly satisfies all our criteria. Okay, so it is also told that your final answer, this is your final answer, right? It should contain, it should be of length m plus n minus 1. Okay, and for every index n, you need to enforce the criterias of true and false. Okay, so enforce the criterias of true and false, of true and false. Okay, what does true represents? True represents that at the starting at this index, you should be able to place this whole string. You should be able to place this whole string str2. And this false represents that even by mistake, there should be no case where this happens to be equal to this str2 string. And you need to tell the lexicographically smallest such possible. If it is not possible, you need to return an empty string. So you might think that, hey, if I have some long string, okay, so how to check for that? Let's say if you have some series of true and false, okay, in between, if somewhere it is true, false, false, somewhere, something like this, you have a series like this. At any index, see, your answer value. This, let's say you are now writing your answer value, and let's say your string 2 is ABC. ABCA, let's say this is your string. Okay. So what does true says? Says that you go to this particular index of your answer. So your answer is also something like this. Okay. Go to this particular index of this answer and paste this value of string 2. A, B, C, A. Now you might see that when you are pasting it, you are also overwriting some values of true, false, and all. Okay. These also enforce some criteria, right? But if you see there is a conflicting enforcement. Okay, if you see that your enforcing values gets conflicted, then you return an empty string, because such a kind of answer is not possible only. So the thing is that I need to make everyone happy here. So whatever criteria true tells me, I need to make that true. Whatever criteria false tells me, I need to make that false. So I need to make each one of the criteria satisfy. So let's try to draw it in a brute force manner and see what happens. Okay. So in a brute force manners, meaning that I will first initialize an empty string, okay, of length m plus n minus 1, okay, whatever it is told, and I will try to paste the value of string 2 wherever we see a true. Wherever we will see a true, we will paste the value of string 2, and if we try to see that, hey, I have this value of true over here, and some value is already pasted over here, already pasted. I cannot paste an A more over here. So we will return an empty string in that case. Let's try to enforce true. So we will work in 2 steps over here. Okay. In order to make this brute force solution, I will try to work in 2 steps. Step 1, we will enforce true. Okay, enforce true. Then our step 2 will be that we will enforce the false criteria. Okay, we will enforce our false criteria because we need to make every of the conditions happy. So let's see. Uh, let's try to start the coding, and we will do some more things. Okay, so first of all, we have this n, which is nothing but string 1 dot size. Okay, we have this m, which is nothing but string 2 dot size. Okay, we have this n and m ready with you. Now you need to return an answer word. Okay, so let's have that string also ready, word. And what will be the length of this word? This word length is nothing but a string word of length n plus m minus 1 is generated. See, I'm not thinking much because I'm trying to do the brute force solution. So whatever is told in the question, I am just trying to implement that. Okay, I am just trying to implement that. Whatever criteria is told in the question, I will just read the question and do as it is. So in the question, it was told that there is a string of word n plus m minus 1, which you need to return. Okay, which you need to return. So yeah, since I need to return this, let me have a word over here. And for simplicity, what I will do is I will have an A. I will have an A over here because see, some values I need to fill and some criteria I need to enforce. So if I have no criteria to enforce, I will want my string to be lexicographically smallest. So I will want that, hey, if there are any positions where there is no enforcement, enforcement, then you put an A over here. Now you might ask that, hey, every place has a true or false. How can you say it is not enforcement? Okay. Now, what does false? This false criteria is a little bit slack, right? Why it is slack? Because you see, uh, it tells you that starting from this index, you should not get the original string, but it does not tell you what string you should get. So if you have some false like this, okay, you can easily fill the string with A. And if you're, let's say the string is AB, something like this, you can always fill it with A. I hope you do understand, because it is always false and it is also not equals to the string, and you get the lexicography smallest one. So that is the reason we fill this word with all A's in the beginning, and we try to enforce some criteria. Okay. Now again, as I told you, I will enforce the true one first and then go with the false one. But you must make sure that whichever values, whichever indices have already been fixed, okay, or already been enforced, I would not like to change those indices. Okay, so let's say if telling a true here means that index number, let's say this was index number 51, let's say, okay, this is 52, 53, 54. Okay, so in all these indices, these values are already enforced, so don't want to change those values. Okay, I don't want to change those values. So where should we keep a track that these indices are enforced? Okay, these indices are enforced. Where should we keep a track? We can keep another enforced array, okay, or fixed array, or whatever you might call it. It will tell you that which so it will only contain one or zero, okay, one true or false binary array kind of thing, and it will tell you which index are true, which index are already fixed, are already enforced. Okay, so uh, what I will also have another vector. I will call it enforced vector. Okay, and this will tell me that which values are already fixed. Okay, it will have all zeros. It means that initially I have not enforced anything. All the values are zero. It means that I have not enforced anything over here. Okay, and yeah, now I can simply do what? Iterate over all the values in this n string one and see, try to enforce the true criteria. So uh, as I told you, I will work in two steps. Step one will be enforce true criteria. Okay, so I will just check simply whether the str of one I is equals to true. Okay, if it is true, then what I will do, I will try to paste those values. Okay, so what I just now told was that if I have a true over here, okay, so the whole string value ABCA, I will just paste next to next to next. Okay, I will just paste this value. So again, I need to iterate. Okay, in order to paste. So with what I will iterate with, let's say, another variable j, and j is nothing but I plus m. I can call j plus plus. Okay, why I plus m? I am starting from I and going till I plus m. It means that I am in pasting this whole value of string, the whole length of string. I'm iterating to the length of string and pasting this whole thing. Okay, so you can just tell that if not already enforced. So if enforced, okay, if already enforced, if already enforced, what you will do, you will to return an empty string, because at the position you are trying to change, at the position you are trying to paste, if that is already pasted with some another value, okay, then you return an empty string. Else, what you do? Else you can simply have your word of j to be nothing but this part of the string. A part of the string is nothing but j minus I. Okay, why j minus I am doing? I goes from j goes from I to I plus m. So j minus I should go from 0 to m. Okay, 0 to m minus 1 it should go, and 0 to m minus 1 are nothing but the indices of the string. So I am pasting all the values in this string to into this word. Okay, so essentially inside this word I am just copying this string to. Okay, inside this word, I'm just copying this string to, and let's say in enforced value, I just tell that, hey, the position of j is now enforced. This this position is now enforced. Okay, now what should I check if already enforced or not? Okay, so if I check that if it is already enforced, if this position of j is already enforced, and the enforced value is different, the word of j, whatever the values we have enforced, that is stored in the word of j, right? if that is if that is not equal to the value which we try to fit, this is the value which we try to copy. Okay, so if it is not equal to the value which is already enforced, then you should return an empty string. Okay, so just like that, you see we have enforced this two criteria. Okay, we have enforced this true criteria. Now what we will try to do is enforce the false criteria. Okay, Now we will try to simply enforce our false criteria. For this, I will again iterate through the same string, and I will now check, instead of true, I will just check whether it is false, and some different kind of things I will do over here, not necessarily like this. Some different kind of things I will do. Now what is the thing? Now this is the position where things start to get interesting. Okay. Now what you will do? Let's say you have the, what is our problem? You see now, what is our problem? See, we have forcefully enforced all the values in the in our final answer array. Wherever there was true, I just copied this value of str2. Okay, I will just copy it. What if somehow by mistake, and also some, let's say some long sequence of false is there, and let's say another true is there. Again, in this place of true, I imposed another abca, but let's say this sequence of f is consumed by these characters, but these two f's are remaining, so I have placed an aa over here. If you remember, in all the false places there is an aa over here. Okay, because we want the lexicography smallest one. So in all the false positions where it is not enforced, okay, where it is not enforced, it is an AA now. But what if you say that this string, let's say this string, okay, starting from false, what does false enforce? Okay, what does false only enforces that the next m characters from this, if you select m characters from this should not be equal to the original string. This m characters, if you select, this should not be equal to original string. But what if by mistake it happens? Okay, I have not checked any criteria of any false, right? I have already enforced the true. What if by mistake that happens? Now what we will do is that, you see, try to see it very clearly. Yeah, so again try to see it very clearly. We had a sequence of true and false, and some places what we did was enforce some values of true. Let's say this value, let's say tick denotes I have enforced some value. Okay, and let's say again I have enforced some values. In the values which are not enforced is now a present. Okay. Now by mistake, what I am telling is that by mistake in these f values also, if we consider the substring of length m, what if that substring become equal to the original string 2? That should not happen. That is the only thing which false tells you. Okay, so what you should do, it is sufficient to change just one character. It is sufficient to change just one character. If that happens, just one character, if that happens, what will be the character? What I can do is that if there are many a's over here, the positions which are fixed, I cannot change them. The positions which are fixed, I cannot change them. The position which are not enforced, okay, the position, see, these positions are enforced, I cannot change them. The positions which are not enforced, those position, what I can do to also ensure the lexicographically smallest value, I have a sequence of a which is not enforced, and last value, last a, I will just change to b. So if some value is like this, I will just change it to this. This is the next lexicographically larger one. Okay, and if it was, I mean, if false was getting, the false criteria was getting hampered, then definitely any other string, if you use any other string apart from that string, it will help you to get rid of that hamperment. Okay, I hope you can visualize this one. I hope try to take some examples and visualize this one in deep. Just change the last a. Okay, and this a, mind it, this there are in between characters also that are enforced. Okay, this I am talking about only the cases where there is no enforcement. Okay, that I have maintained in a separate array called enforced. Okay, so let's have a flag, or we will call it uh, mm, flag. See, we need to make this false. Okay, we need to make that starting from index I to the next m characters, that should not be equal to the original string. So I will just have a boolean flag which is false, which tells you that whether false criteria is uh, hampered or not. Okay, so whether false criteria is hampered. Oh, initially we do not have it. Okay, and okay. So what we do now is simply iterate through the string, and if we check that, and if what we check that, uh, if let's say string two of j minus I, which we were copying, if it is not equals to the word of j, then flag is true. Do you understand, guys, what I'm doing? Do you understand what I'm doing over here? I am see. I told that if this flag of false, okay, if this flag of false, somehow it happens that uh, what if by mistake? I told you, no, like if what if by mistake we get a string in place, we get the original string in place of false, okay, even after placing this all a. But what if we not get it? Then there is no issue, right? So if we do not get, so if one criteria already got false, okay, already this string does not match, then I have no problem. Okay, I hope you do understand. If already it is falsed, okay, if already it is falsed, if already it does not matches, it doesn't match, then no issue. No issue. That is why I am doing flag equals to true. Okay. And now you see if uh, and we also need to might have to change this value, okay, to if in case this flag remains false all over, then we might have to change the value. Now at which index I will change the value? As I told you, in out of all the not enforced index, the last one we can just change that a to b. Okay, so what how we will understand that what which is our last one, which is our last index? So let's have it by -1, and we'll just tell that if it is not enforced out of all the values which are not enforced so far, okay, uh, you just store that particular index. Okay, I am just storing this particular index. Now you try to follow what I'm doing. If this flag is true, then continue. No problem with that, because if criteria is hampered or not, yeah, if it is already true, it means that we are okay to go. Okay, if it the flag is already true, it means that this f criteria does not get hampered anywhere. Okay, as the fear which we were having that this f might match the original string, we try to match the original string, and we see that it is not the case. Okay, uh, so we do not have any issues with that. Else if what I can do, if this particular index, okay, if this particular index is not -1, it means that I have some values which are not enforced. Okay, I have some values which are not enforced, and I am able to change those. I am able to change those. So word of those IDX, I will just last one, I will just change to B. And how will you know that this is the last one? Because yeah, I iterated this loop from left to right, okay, from I to I plus m, and I kept doing this idx equal to j every time. So whenever I got a not enforced value, so uh, let's say if this index was 5, this index was 7, 11, 13, I just went on doing idx equals to, whenever it is not enforced, idx equal to 5, idx equal to 7, idx equal to 11, and then at the end idx will be 13, and at the last value I will just end up in changing to b. Okay, so the last value I just change it to b. Else you see, you do not have any values to change. Okay, so your flag is false, and also you do not have any values to change. Okay? So again, you are helpless in this case. Okay, so you can simply return a an empty string. Okay, yeah, that is all. That was all. You see, this was essentially a brute force. I can tell the implementation is might be a little difficult. Okay, but yeah, essentially this was a brute force, you can call it. Let's try to run and check if any mistakes we have done. Okay, some small issues are there. Let's correct it. So, uh, again, there is some issue, right, with J. So, yeah, I'll just uh, correcting all these human errors. Yeah, we got the accepted thing. Let's see. Try to submit it for all the cases and see. Yeah, we did get an accepted. The time complexity was not that great, but yeah, many times it does not matter much. If you could get a better optimal solution, then definitely write me in the comment section. This is what I could get, and even the brute force solution works. So that is a good thing actually. Uh, yeah, what we essentially did was we just read the problem statement, we just do what is told. Okay, do what is told with a little bit of thinking. This thing equals to true criteria is there, we try to enforce that. Thing equal to false criteria is there, we try to enforce that with proper logic, definitely, and then we try to return that. Okay, that is all. That was all that, and that was sufficient for this problem. I hope you did understand this solution. If you did not, if there is any doubt, you can definitely ask me in the comment section. Do not give up. Okay, so yeah, that's all. That's all for this video. I will meet you in the next video. Till then, thanks a lot.